Good morning, Forest Box kids. Miss Katie here, and this week we are going to be watercoloring a lizard together. It's going to be a lot of fun. The materials that you are going to need are your watercolor tray, your paintbrush, your green and black colored pencil, your number 2 pencil, some water, and if you have a little dropper, that's always very helpful. All right, so go ahead and get your yellow and green and your black trays wet and make some puddles of yellow, green, and black. And while I go over our 7 basic elements of shape. All right, our basic elements of shape are line, shape, form, value, color, space, and texture. With our lizard today, we are definitely going to be using line. We are going to be creating some shapes. With our stripes, we're creating a little bit of form to make his belly seem round. We have values with our color. We are not doing a lot of space or texture today. Okay, so to start off, I want to ask you, what direction is this lizard going in? Would it be a zigzag line, a curved line, a straight line? If you follow from his nose to the tip of the tail, you will see it follows almost an S shape. If you kind of look here, if we added an extra curve, we would see an S. So it's almost an incomplete S, okay? So we're gonna start by mimicking and drawing that spine shape, okay? I am gonna start here, and as long as you have a curved line, there's really no way to go wrong with this. So feel free to have your curved line look different than mine, okay? So I'm gonna start here, I'm gonna curve down, and then around, okay? And then right about here, before it curves down, I'm gonna draw a notch, okay? And then right about here, I'm gonna draw a notch. So this notch is going to signify between here and here is our head. Right here is going to be our neck. From here to here, we're going to have our rounded belly. And then from here on, we are going to have our tail getting, our thickness getting skinnier and skinnier. Now, if we want to consider the head of this lizard as a shape, what shape would you say? It is it is a loose, curvy triangle. So right here around the neck, what we're going to do is we're going to curve outward a little bit, and then we're going to come back inward to create this curved head. Now mine's a little bit more curved because his head and his neck is bending along this S curve. And maybe I will move it. Here we go. So we have, I'm going to move my paints for now. You'll see we have the widest parts of our triangle here. If I were to draw a triangle, this is the triangle for our head. And let me go ahead and draw it a little bit darker for you. Okay. And then it's going to create a skinny little neck here. All right. And then down here, we're going to have about the same width, okay? This is where his back legs are going to be sitting. And between here and here, we're going to have this nice round belly, and it's going to be curving with this curved line. So I'm going to curve out here, and then curve back in. And then here, I'm going to curve out and back in. Okay, so we've created a fat little belly here. And then from here to the end, we're just going to continue lines that follow along this curve, but they're going to get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And at the very end, actually, I'll do a little bit of a flick off to the left. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, and I'm slowly getting closer to the end and making it skinnier and skinnier. Okay, there's one. And then I'm going to move this one along just in the same way. Okay, so now we have the body of our lizard. I'll bring it close for you. Okay, and then so now what we're going to do is we're going to create our legs and our legs and arms. They're all kind of legs here. So we've got our two here and our two here. Now, I'm going to start with a bent line, and I'm going to create one at the back as well. Okay? And then at the end of each bent line, I'm going to draw a circle. Just like this. Okay? And then at each circle, I'm going to draw 5 lines coming out like a star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost like spokes on a wheel. On every one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at the end of every one of these, we're going to have a smaller circle. This is where we are drawing these little toes, okay? A smaller circle sitting at the end of every one of these like spokes of a wheel. And if you get close to the edge, just modify it as you need to. Okay, so once we're here, now we're going to add thickness to our legs and our hands. From here, from the circle, we're going to come out and just create another angled line, a sister line that sits next to it to give the impression of the thickness of a leg. Just like that. And then we're going to do the same with each of these toes. I'm going to do a line next to every one, and it's going to start looking like a star. And all I've done is added a line to give each one of these spokes width. Okay? Here we are. Okay, so now we are done with the body of our lizard. I'm going to go ahead and erase this main line that we used. And I'm going to erase the line that separates the legs from the body. And then I'm going to work with my eraser carefully. I'm going to put in any lines that I've erased. And I'm going to erase the center circle of each hand and draw the lines back just so that they connect. Erasing the center circle and then making sure to put the lines back. I'll let you see those. So they really do look like stars now without that circle in the middle. And if you need to adjust these little fingers and toes, please feel free, okay? Like these look a little bit off, less like a star. So I'm gonna create the toes that kind of look more star-like. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw for my eyeballs, okay? Next to the line, the 2 sides of the triangle, I'm doing 2 lines. And from there, I'm going to create a half circle that sticks a little bit farther out than the side of the face. just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to erase the lines behind them. And we are almost set for watercoloring. Okay, so now the only thing we have left just doing some cleanup, the stripes, okay? So if you want to create a little bit of angle on your stripes or some bumps, they can be bumpy, they can be zigzag. It's really up to you how creative you want to get. I'm just going to keep these ones a little bit rounded. There's one stripe, and I'll do another one right here, and I'm going to let it stop by the arms. And then now we'll do I'm just going to copy the ones I already had, and then a little bit more. This one might be a little bit straighter. And then here we're going to start coming downward. And a little bit farther down. And mine are going to maybe look a little different than the original, but that's okay. We're just going to create them as we go. And as we get down the tail, they're going to get skinnier and smaller. Okay. Now we have our lizard is all ready to go. And you'll notice this lizard is different than this one in that this one is a little bit wider. Its head is at a different angle. And all of these things are okay. It's all right for our lizards to look different from one another. All right, so let's go ahead and go in with our color. Let's get our green. Get our paint out. Okay, so now we're gonna make our green puddle here. And one thing to have on hand that's really helpful is paper towels in case you have too much paint. Let me go ahead and move ours a little bit closer since we only have one out now. We don't need to be looking at both of ours. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna start at the head, and I'm gonna go painting all the way around, filling in with the green. And if I have a lot of paint on my brush as I do here, I'm gonna just get some off. This green is very vibrant right now. You won't need a lot. All of these little pieces actually doesn't take too much paint. So let's get started. And I like to move my paper around. All right, so I'm gonna start with the head. And I'm not painting where the eyes are. The head actually is the most difficult. Well, actually you've got the head, and then you've got some of these fingers by the hand. Otherwise, the stripes are pretty simple to paint in. Okay, and then once you have it, just leave it and let it sit. And I'm gonna work I'll do this extra section here, and then I'll work at my hands and work my way backward from my hands. From the tips and the fingers back down the arm. Okay, so now I'm gonna do little circles. And then work down the arm. Now it's good to know if you're going to have a green area by your arm or not. So I know that this one is supposed to be yellow, so I'm not painting all the way out into the body here because I know it's going to be a yellow stripe. And I'm going to start here. There's a hair on my paintbrush. Okay, I'm going to do this hand. There are not a lot of lizards in Colorado. Sometimes there are. I'm not saying there are not there aren't lizards. When I grew up in Florida, my kids grew up in Florida, there were lizards everywhere. We would find them in our homes all the time. And when I was a kid, my mom would say, leave the lizards there. Don't try to catch them and get them out of the home because they will eat the flies in the home. And so we would often just have little lizards running around our home. It was very fun as a kid. That might be too much. All right. I'm going to work through my lizard, making sure to go every other stripe and finishing my other 2 legs, and I will return when those are done. Hey, I have got the green all colored in, and the next step is to use our yellow. So let's go ahead and make our yellow puddle. And you can make it as saturated, meaning as vibrant, or as watered down as you like. And we're going to go in with all these stripes, and hopefully the ones are dry at the beginning. Even if your tail is still drying, you've got dry up here. So I'm going to start with these front stripes. And we're just going to work our way down the lizard. And it's good to use a blot on your paper towel if it's a little bit too much, or if you have a puddle. And it's just so satisfying how it comes to life once we fill in all the white. And you want to kind of try not to paint on the green, just neighbor it closely. And if you do get on it just a little bit, that's just fine. But the more you get on the green, the more likely the green is going to blend into the yellow. Because even though the green might be dry, if you continually expose it to water and move your brush on top of it, it will loosen up and start spreading. And we don't want that. We want the green to stay with the green, and the yellow to stay with the yellow. All right. I'm going to finish up all my stripes, and we'll be right back. All right, my yellow stripes are finished. My paint is still wet, but while all of this is drying, we're going to go in. My green is dry, and we are going to create our nice black eyes, okay? So hopefully you have some water in your black already, and you want a nice, almost like a gelatinous, like a gel black. You want it nice and vibrant, okay? And nice and thick. I guess that's a better way to describe it. And then we're going to go in this little section with your pointed brush and fill in those semicircles, those half circles. 1. Move this out of the way. And 2. I'm going to smooth it out. There, that was nice. All right, 2 eyes. Okay, I'm gonna let it dry, and then our final step will be to go in with with our green colored pencil and outline after it's dried. Okay, my green is dry, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my sharpened green pencil, and I'm just gonna start around the body. Now, I am aware that there is some dampness, so I'm not going to go and touch my eye with my pencil. I'm gonna start in this general body shape and go around the edge. All right, and then I'm gonna do the other. Okay, and then I'm gonna go around the head. And around the nose. Now, I am satisfied. Let's go ahead and do the tail. My green was very vibrant and saturated. On my sample one, I had a much lighter green. And so an outline really made it look sharp. So if you have a very dark green on your lizard, you might not need the colored pencil outline. But if it's really light, you might want to outline your lizard with the colored pencil. So let me show you this one. This one is our lighter one. And you can see how the outline actually really helped enhance the picture by giving it the outlines or giving it borders. Here we have it pretty dark already. And so creating the colored pencil around it doesn't have the same effect, and it's not as necessary. So I want to leave it up to you if you want to outline your lizard with your green colored pencil. That means also you could outline your stripes and your hands, okay? In this one also, the black was not as vibrant, so I outlined that with my colored pencil. But here, oh my goodness, my black is really dark. No colored pencil outline needed. So we are finished with our lizard. I'm going to come in and put my initials here. And we are done. Please feel free to email me your lizard at katieprawl@havenforestschool.com. Great job. Thank you for participating, and I will see you next time.